It's a pretty wild weekend for USPSA. We got more bans, soft bans, and USPSA lost an entire section. I know I just did a video on USPSA, but there's enough happening. Should do another one. So I'll go through it piece by piece and kind of give you the highlights if you missed it um, on Instagram over the weekend. Anyway, so let's get to the bands first. Like, what do I mean by that, and what do I mean by soft bands? So, um, here in Arizona, they're going to be holding IPSC Nationals in the spring. It's at Rio Salado. I mean, it's maybe the most famous like shooting range in the country. Maybe, probably, I don't know. But it's a big range. They hold a lot of matches there, so no surprise. You know, one of the matches they're holding is IPSC Nationals. The area director, area two director, Leighton, we might refer to him as Hot Dog. He's one of the board members who's particularly troublesome. Let's put it that way. Like this guy's out of his mind. uh, so this is his home state. He's hooked up at that club somehow, some way. I don't know. And the decision was made to put the match in Arizona, and now registration for IPSC Nationals has opened. A bunch of people have registered, and before they could choose where they're going to squad, a few people just got refunds and were withdrawn from the match. This is not the first time this has happened. This is not the first time this has happened to at least one of the guys that I know about. It's at least the second time this same thing for him, where he registers for a match at this range and is just sent a refund, like a forced withdrawal, and then any communication with the range or any match staff, it's just he won't get an answer. They're just gonna ignore him. So I would call that a ban. It's like, hey, you're not allowed to shoot this match, but nobody's going to tell you that. There's not like an official process. It's just you're not allowed to shoot the match. So what's going on here is that guys that have been critical of Leighton or critical of his actions, really, are just, hey, you're just not allowed to participate. The fact that it's like the Nationals doesn't matter. Still not allowed to participate. I'm going to go over communications from a couple of these guys and we can talk about it. So, one of these guys messaged me. I was just like, "Hey, is this real?" Because they posted the withdrawals on Instagram, like the refund they got from practice court. It's just like, wow, you were forced to get like they just sent you a refund. I was like, yeah. Anyway, one guy says, yeah, I emailed the contact list and inquired and they didn't email him back. He called the phone number and it just went to the range general office. And here's an interesting comment that he made to me privately. I'll read this. One of these guys forced out of IPSC Nationals. He's got his little gang. You jerk him off and he'll take care of you type of deal. Most people I talk to are not a fan or are afraid to speak up because of this exact scenario. And that's really what the truth is. Like kind of people that know the deal understand if you are like if you criticize like personalities like Leighton, if you criticize him in public, criticize what he's doing, there's going to be some sort of a retribution. Now, these guys, to my knowledge, they didn't they're not like me. They're not even aggressive. They're not swearing at him or just saying, "Hey, I disagree with you. What you're doing is wrong." One of the guys like would be like, "Hey, Leighton, you should resign and let somebody else do this." Like that type of criticism gets them not allowed to shoot nationals. I mean, at least at that range. And in fairness, that range is FUD Central, but still, they're not allowed to shoot nationals. Uh, got another comment here. This is from the other guy. There's two guys banned. This is the other one. Um, it's amazing how many shooters have quit the Leighton fan club. If he only knew how many people talk about him. They don't in public because they don't want to be shadow banned. I mean, and I don't blame them. Yes, and again, like I'm saying, like it's at the point people that have been around, they understand. You say certain things that are critical of board members, there's going to be some kind of retribution. So we're at the point now they can't kick people out of USPSA, the organization, like they did me, because there's been way too much backlash. There's a lawsuit going on. But this kind of stuff, I think colloquially, this is known as bitch shit. This type of bitch shit, absolutely, they're going to do. Uh, it's sad. I mean, It is sad. And the sad thing to me is that if you go to USPSA nationals, you go to IPSC nationals. The shooting community is relatively small, and competitive shooting is relatively catty. So it's super clicky, right? There's all these cliques, and it's catty, and different people don't like each other. Like obviously, I'm like I don't like certain people, and a lot of people don't like me. But that's not unique. Like that types of dynamics are everywhere. Okay. It's all over the place. But it used to be that you'd go to nationals and that would get set to the side and you just do the match because that's more important than any personal beefs you have, like is having a clean match because that's really what we're doing here. And then you can go back to having a beef. So for example, like the way I was brought up in this, or like the way it always worked for me is like there was a guy in my section, we hated each other. And for a lot of good reasons. Like, I think this guy's a douche. I don't like this dude quite openly. And we had arguments. But if I'm working a stage and he comes up to my stage at the section match, like I don't want to like cause problems for him. Like I want to give him a fair run and a clean run. And more than that, I want to make sure that it appears fair. So like that kind of, I would just kind of quietly just hand off the timer and just like go somewhere else and let that squad run and and there'd just be like no appearance of any type of problem between me and this guy. And that was the best thing for everyone. And the reverse was true. Like if he's working a stage and I can be like, dude, just go away. I don't want you on the timer for me because and like and if I was him, like I don't want to be on the timer when this guy's shooting because if something happens and like there's a DQ or something, there's always going to be questions, right? So you want it to be fair and you want it to be clean. And having the match be clean and be fair and be right and everybody comes and participates, like that is the most important thing. And you should set this personal set of shit aside and do the match. That's the right thing to do. But that's not how it works. Like, not really. I mean, not not from the board of directors. Like, absolutely not. They scour the internet for people and like hold grudges and that kind of stuff. Leighton in particular is really easy to get him riled up. Like one of my friends, he lives in Australia. He doesn't even live in this country. Like he has some random Instagram account with 20 followers and no posts and no pictures. It's just a burner account. Nobody knows this guy. But he like I remember one time he just made a comment on Instagram that was pointed at Leighton and it was very critical. It was about I mean at one point when they got rid of Mike Foley finally who sucked as a USPSA president honestly. Leighton was out saying, "Oh, this guy's been terrible for years and oh he just had to go." And my friend pointed I was like, "Didn't you vote to give him a bonus like 60 days before you fired him? Like what are you talking about?" Like you were like these two things don't play together. That kind of and that made Leighton crazy. Like he was running around asking people who is this like who is this account who is this person and well if you have a little bit of profile on the internet and a little bit of a following, there's always going to be people making nasty comments. There'll be people making nice comments. There'll be people making all kinds of comments, and you could sit there and worry about like, oh, who is this person, or you could just be like, yeah, I actually don't give a shit. Like I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and they say what they want to say, and everything's fine. Anyway, so that's what's going on in USPSA. It's now about soft banning critics from big matches if possible. Sad thing. All right, and USPSA has lost a section. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll read a statement from the Wisconsin section coordinator, outgoing, of course. And here's what's happened. And I should say the section and the state are, I think in Wisconsin is the same. Like all the clubs in the state, I think, are located. Maybe we have one club in Wisconsin section that's no, we have I think we have one club that's not in the section because it's like in the Illinois section. I don't know. But it's pretty much just the geographical boundaries of the state of Wisconsin. Anyway, the end of the year section meeting was held on December 2nd. The section executive committee match directors from all of the clubs have approved some bylaw and procedural changes for the upcoming season. The main change you will notice is a name change on the Facebook page. This is because Wisconsin section will now be including clubs that choose to host PCSL matches. There are now clubs that will be PCSL only, USPSA only, and currently three that will be running both. As a group, we decided that it is in our best interest for us to work together and support each other rather than split into separate groups. With PCSL now established in Wisconsin, Augusta is excited to announce they will be hosting the first annual Wisconsin PCSL section match on September 7th and 8th. Schultz will be hosting this year's USPSA section match, and they will be announcing that date soon. With declining participation in the USPSA point series, we have decided to end it. National slots were distributed by placement in the point series. This year, the slots will be awarded according to placement in the USPSA section match. And finally, I've decided not to seek re-election as the section coordinator. Bill Hatfield was unanimously elected, and we are confident that he will do great. Okay, so let me parse that out for you, or give you a little more context. What actually happened inside of the our state section is we have a USPSA state section. That's like the organization that kind of helps coordinate USPSA in the state. Um, what they've done now is they've gone through the bylaws for that and just removed any reference to USPSA to make it's sort of agnostic now. It's like, oh yeah, we do PCSL and you do like USPSA. That's cool. You can do multi, and you can do whatever you want. That's fine. It's not a, USPSA section. It'll be just whatever. They need to have a USPSA section coordinator. That's a USPSA requirement. So that'll be a separate position from the actual section coordinator. I know this gets a little complicated. But really, this is just a mechanism. So what's happening is the clubs are switching to PCSL. A few of them are going to do a little bit of USPSA so people that want classifications can get them. And they'll just remove reference to USPSA. Like the section itself is just going a different direction. I think it's smart what they've done. They're not tied to PCSL either, which is smart. I'm not sure PCSL is the long-term answer, but it's what people want to do right now. And what I heard from the meeting, like I've got ears everywhere. What I heard from the meeting is just universally, nobody wants to give USPSA money, and they understand at this point that functionally, like that's just what you're doing. If you're just running USPSA matches, you're giving them money, and they're not giving you anything. Um, and this is happening on all sorts of levels. For example, at my friend Joel's club in Nebraska, it's a really big club. They're going to have their, state steel challenge championship match. Well, they look at it and I think they've decided to run it as a level 1 match. Why? Just so they give USPSA less money. Like they're still going to do it, right? But like, why give them more money? If you make it a level 2 match, it doesn't change the match, and you just have to give USPSA more money. It changes nothing, right? So this is kind of where people are at. Is like, yeah, they want to shoot fundamentally. They like basically what USPSA is. It's just they understand giving USPSA money, you're just giving it to this board of FUDs that is gonna, I don't know. They might as well set fire to it at this point. It's being wasted. Like, you know what I mean? And people understand that. So I mean, this is what has to happen. I think it'll go to a good place from here. You guys are probably know my attitude at this point. So yeah, that's what's going on. USPSA kind of doubling down on dumb. They're going to keep banning people. Okay, they're going to keep, trying to punish critics. Fine. All right. And now different people, a lot of different places, they've had it and they understand the name of the game now is just stop sending them money, and eventually they will die on the vine, and then they can be replaced with something else. So I'll keep watching. We'll see what happens.